Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Corners Masterclass. Let's hop into it. Corners. When you look at a ball heat map in terms of where it is on the field, you will notice that most replays have the heat map be in the corners of the map. So, what that means is most of the time in the game, the ball is in the corners compared to in the outfield. Learning how to play in the corners and ways to take advantage of the ball being in the corner will allow you to up your game to the next level. What I mean by this is if the ball's in the corner more often than it is in the outfield, it just makes sense for us to want to learn how to play when the ball's in the corner. So, in this class, we're going to have three topics we're going to go over. First is why the ball's in the corner. So, why should I care about the corner? We're then going to talk about the offense and defensive things that you guys want to be doing so that you can take advantage of the corner to the fullest. So, let's hop into it. Why the corner? The corners on the field in Rocket League allow both the offense and defense to accomplish things that they both want. The reason the ball is in the corner so much is that the offense and the defense both want to have the ball in the corner, but for different reasons. On offense, you want the ball to get out of the corner, but it's a good place to start. So, on offense, the corner is a way to get the ball out mid, where you have any way for the ball to come towards the middle of the field. You have a way to steal the corner boost, which is the resource that I talk about so much as being really, really important. And it's a way to initiate pressure. You want the ball to be in the corner, but the end goal on offense, oh God, the end goal is mid. On defense, however, the corner is where you want the ball to be, but they want it to get out of their half. So instead of the ball going mid on offense, you want the ball to go out on defense. On defense, the corner is the safest place on the back wall. Unless you get astral pinched on, which hopefully doesn't happen very often, the corner is very safe. There are not that many shooting angles from this area. You have to really get the ball to go mid. So when people are clearing the ball and the ball is, soaring over the field in this way, they're clearing to the corners because they don't want the ball to just pop out back mid for an easy shot. It's also a place to pick up big boost. As I've talked about, big boost is super, super important. And that's why when we are focusing on our rotations through the corners, on offense and on defense, our number one goal is to take that corner boost. And then finally, a place to pass the ball out on defense. If you pass the ball this way, maybe you have a teammate on the wall, they're able to hit the ball out. So what I'm trying to get at with all of this is the end goal of the ball in the corner on defense is out of your half. So, as you can see, there are two different ways that we really want the ball to leave the corner in these different situations, but both offense and defense is kind of based around trying to take advantage of that corner, but they still both want to be there. So, as you can see in the last bullet point I have, the thing you want to get away from all of this slide is that the ball will be in the corner a lot. All right, let's keep going. What does that mean for you? With all of that in mind, how can you as a player take advantage of that? Since the ball is in the corner, if you were able to figure out ways to bring that position to your advantage, you'll be, and this is the wording I like to use, more comfortable in a situation that happens all the time. If you are comfortable in these situations, you are able to more clearly and more of the time feel good about the touches you make. In my mentality class that I did last week, I talked about mentality being 80 to 90% of people's games when they get up to the higher levels. If you are champ Grand Champ, SSL, it doesn't really matter. But when you get up into those higher ranks, you want to feel comfortable in these situations. And if you're able to sort of train your mind to realize these situations are happening more and more often, you're going to become a lot better when it comes to these situations. That's just how it's going to work. And so the goal of being in the corner is simple: get the ball out of the corner, very important, out of the corner, with an advantage on one or multiple of these things. And I put them kind of in terms of their importance. So first best, second best, third best. But you want an advantage on one or multiple of these things when it comes to offense or defense. So first up is boost, second up is position, and third is momentum. And we'll get into what I mean by all that more specifically when we get into the different sections. So any questions on why the corner? Yeah, what's up? Mm-hmm. Yes. The reason I put these in order of importance is that, especially when it comes to boost, it's so important. It's so important to have boost. And if you bang the ball on a clear and it gives time for you, if you're playing ones, or your team to get boost and reset, that's much more important than trying to get a better position and keep your momentum when you're on 20 boost. Because in general, and as I say this in my boost class, like, the more boost you have, the more things you can do. So that means that boost is just principally the most important thing when it comes to that. Does that make sense? Awesome. All right. So now we're really quickly going to look at what the corner means to the highest level of the game. This is last last split, the some a little bit of gameplay between Carmine Corp in blue and then Vitality in orange. This is a regional finals. So first off, initiating offense in the corner. Now, instead of it just being a simple pass mid, we have Vatira going for a little double tap out mid. But as you can see, even pros want to be initiating offense from the corner. And Zen makes a great save, but look where the ball goes. He doesn't hit it out, he hits it to the corner because it allows his team to get time, get space, and go for boost so that they can keep going. And look at that. And then Itachi in this situation also is trying to just keep the ball in the corner, let his teammates rotate in like that, and just keep it going. Gonna keep going through here. And as you can see, they missed the shot, but it's back to the other side of the field. And what we're having is we're having this back and forth between people trying to take advantage of each other in the corners. And we have offense and defense all kind of going around, getting an advantage of those three things. Remember, it's boost, position, and then momentum. Does that make sense? Cool. Cool. All right. First off, offense in the corner. The goal of offense in the corner. First off, the goal of offense in your corner is to beat your man on the ball. So if you're first man, this is your goal. These two things. You want to beat your first man, and then if that can't work, provide a better situation for second man in your rotation. What I mean by that, and what I kind of went over in my offensive rotations, is as first, and even defensive rotations, is as first man, your goal isn't just to do this. It's not just to beat your man on the ball. Your goal is to, if you can, do this, but if you can't, provide a free, and I really just like saying better, situation for second man in your rotation. That can be a free touch. Maybe the guy 50s the ball back to your teammate for a free touch on ball, maybe you find a way to pinch the ball mid instead of just beating the guy on the ball. Find a way to provide a better situation for your second man in your rotation. If you're just starting to think about how you want to hit the ball in the corner, just think about where can you be where your touch doesn't take you completely out of the rotation. And what I mean by that is always be able to recover in getting the ball mid. And then finally, get the ball mid. Pretty self-explanatory, but when you're beating your man on the ball, you're trying to get the ball mid or beat him mid or provide a situation where your second man can get it mid. It's all about not just keeping the ball in the corner. We don't want to just 50 and 50 and 50. We want to actually attempt to get the ball mid. The secret to being a great offensive player is to always know where your second man is. That's what I'm saying is it's not always about what you're doing on ball. It's about creating a situation for your second man. If your second man is on the far side of the field from where you are, if you 50 the ball, he's not going to be able to follow up your 50. You got to find ways to know where he is and get the ball to him. And you want to make sure, in the end, set them up for a good possession. All right. Any questions on this slide? Cool. Okay, so when you are the person on the ball in the corner, you want to morph your play to wherever the defender is and where your second man is. This is just kind of a situation I drew up where we have you as first man here, and then we have your second man mid, and then we have guy here, waiting for the ball to come out. So, Rampage, in this spot, how are you creating a better situation for your second man? I want you to think about where you are and which way you're going, how this defender's challenging, and then where your second man is. It's kind of just rolling out this way. And there's a few right answers here. I just want you to know that. There's not one correct answer. I just want you to think of a way. I love that. That's a really good idea, right? You're getting the 50 to go back to where second man is on the field. I really like that. Another situation I think you could do is you just straight up lose the 50 behind you, and you could have second man rotate in like that to get the ball. Winning a 50 here doesn't do a lot because your second man isn't following you like this. He's mid. So you got to give him time to do something. If you want to try, maybe you beat your man mid and go for a pass out like that off the back wall. There's a lot of different things that you can try to do with the end goal of, I want this ball to get to my second man. And as you can see in these bullet points, I kind of lay out some of the situations. If the defender's playing low and you're your teammate mid, bring the ball around their back wall. Obviously, as you can see in this, he's kind of hedging it higher, so the back wall isn't really open. But if you see him playing even a little bit more down like this, you can dribble the ball off the back wall and hit it mid like that. If your second man is mid and your defender is playing the wall, the idea you brought up, you can 50 the ball mid and maybe get a really good shot on net. And then the final thing that I always like to bring up, just because everyone always says, I'm too fast for my lobby, my teammates don't know what they're doing, whatever it is. Imagine your second man is this person where they're rotating in and they're very slow. You got to waste time. How do you waste time? Just 50 your heart out. Just keep 50ing, flipping into the wall, 50ing, flipping into the wall, 50, flipping into the wall. Maybe you just keep front flipping and just doing stonewall challenges for these three people. Whatever you do to 50 the ball and not move a ton is how you want to be able to waste time so that your teammates can get in. It's all about those 50s if you're trying to waste time. Okay. Any questions on offensive rotation there? Cool. Cool. And then finally, this is very important, getting out of the corner. Leave. There are too many people that will just do this and this and this. We don't want that. I want you to do your job and get out of the corner. So here are some rules to the corner. If we're paying attention to our second man, if our second man is here, don't just keep 50ing. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work because you're really just having your teammates sit behind you and wait for something to happen. The rule of thumb that I have, again, every situation is situational. That's how the game works. But if you 50 the ball more than twice, you've been there for way too long. Once you get to your third, your fourth 50, you should start thinking, wow, I'm ball chasing. What am I doing? You want to be good about keeping the rotation fluid by going through and not just standing still and waiting for stuff to happen, or in just 50ing the ball and hoping your teammates somehow get there, because they'll be sitting behind you just waiting for stuff to happen. That's kind of how it works. Where do you go? I brought this up in the offensive rotation, but it's the sweep. It's that sweep where you go through. You pick up this boost, you try disrupting any cars that are in net here, and then you finish the sweep by rotating back post by getting the boost and rotating back in rotation. If you pick up this boost on the top side, maybe you just rotate back here. Maybe after picking up the boost, you become a passing option mid. Just doing this sweep rotation, it spaces you out and creates, or it doesn't create the situation where you're just doing this, just doing these circles. These circles suck because the people behind you are just waiting and you just keep doing these circles and ball chasing. And it just clogs the rotation, makes things really awkward. So remember, when you're in the corner on offense, make sure you're finding a way to get out of the corner. Okay. Any questions on getting out of the corner? Oh, cool. And this is just a better diagram and example of the sweep rotation that I brought up. Boost, net, boost. Think about it in 3 easy steps. I'm going to try getting this boost. I'm going to try demoing net. I'm going to try getting this other boost. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about defense. Normally, the corners are not the perfect place that you want the ball to be, but it can help give your team a break of pressure for a second. Remember, if you have the ball here, there's not a good angle to shoot it compared to the ball being here or here. So if you're trying to find time and you're trying to waste time so your teammates can get boost and you're able to keep the rotation going, aim for the corners and aim for the walls. Try having the ball roll up the corner, sit on the wall, and be able to 50 with the other team and not just passing the ball. When the ball is in the corner on defense, it gives time for players to get boost, set up their rotation, and figure out what they need to do. That's why if you hit the ball into this corner and you have your first man follow, these two people have time to do things like pick up this boost arc, pick up that back boost, do whatever it takes to prepare themselves for a defensive rotation. Hey, maybe as second man, you see this guy creeping up, go for a demo. They're just things that you want to do on defense in the corners that when first man slows it down and brings the ball into the corner and just tries wasting time, as we talked about, where you're just 50ing your heart out, it'll make your life a lot easier, especially your defenders' lives and teammates' lives a lot easier. When you're playing defense in the corner, your main goal isn't to beat the entire offense, but to help set up your team for a good clear. There is an idea that people have where they think they just need to do this every time. Just clear the ball this way every time. But what you kind of see from these rotations is the idea of everyone focusing on the corner on offense. And as you can kind of see, there's an imbalance of players in terms of where the ball is going to be on the field. So if you are on offense and you are trying to cover the ball, it's a shorter path than if you're on defense trying to cover the ball. So what ends up happening is your first man just decides to try beating 3 people. And most of the time it doesn't work. And so that's why we want to focus on just setting up our second man and our third man by wasting time in the corner, not just trying to beat the entire team. Oh God, what do I do when it's in the corner? Defense in the corner is like offense because you always need to know where your second man is. If your second man is right behind you, just 50. All you got to do is 50 and allow him to have a better chance to get the ball. You can 50 the ball backwards. You can bump the guy. Maybe you just leave the ball. If this guy doesn't follow, it's a free touch for your teammate. It's all about, and this is the key, thinking about where your second man is. If that's the one thing you can get away from this is when the ball's in the corner, think about where your second man is. When playing defense, your goal is to get the ball out of the corner, but you want to make sure you don't just give the ball back to the other team. It's kind of what I brought up earlier, where you just have this idea of this guy 1v3ing in the corner. If you beat one guy and pass it to their second man, that's not really beating them. You're just allowing them to get another free possession. So really focus on where your second man is and trying to get him into the play. And then finally, for this slide, this is very important. Secure back boost. I think in these situations, if you know your second man's behind you, leaving the ball and going for this boost is much more important than going for the ball and 50ing him. If you can, make sure at all costs you get that boost. Does that make sense, everyone? Cool. And finally, this is the concept of the overload that I talk about on offense. Look at where they all are. Most of the time, you won't realize it, especially because you're going to just be so nervous about where the ball is. But most of the time, people's rotations are within this triangle. I just like to have this guy kind of close up to show you the overload. It's the rotation people play in games because they're only thinking about going this way. If you open your view up to the rest of the field here and you try doing things like 50ing that way or passing to your teammates or just leaving and letting your teammates control it off the back wall, doing all these things, it allows you to get around the overload of what they're trying to do on ball. So, with what I'm saying, with this overload, clearing the ball correctly into offense means your team has possession and your team has boost to create offense. So, 2 of those things, position and boost. If you can do this correctly, you have done a clear right. How? Passing the ball. In this is just a short example, but this is the offense overloading in this spot. And all you do is you just bring the ball out. You just bring the ball out. Maybe you do an air dribble. Maybe you do a 50. You just put the ball in space. It's all about space, guys. Always figure out where they are on the field and hit the ball around them. So you can pass it. You can control it. Maybe you just 50 the ball out. I love this 50 pinch out. It's really, really good. If you can perfect the 50-50 here where you pinch the ball out, that's a really great skill to learn. All of these things allow you to bring the ball into offense and you don't get dispossessed and give them the ball back. The ball going this way is bad. The ball going this way is good. Does that make sense to you guys? Any questions? Cool. All right. Thank you guys for stopping by. Any questions? All right. Think we're all good. So that'll be the end of class for today. Thank you.